leasing. So my plan is I'm just going to do a couple of slides and then we'll open it up for some debate or talking about different things. So as I say, I'm not the best at PowerPoint presentations. So hopefully you're seeing my screen now. I just need to hide some of these things. So why LCC stroke open LCB when MERG has its own kit supported layout control bus systems? So obviously we've got CBUS stroke VLCB. This has a lot more useful kits available than we currently have within LCC. However, they require a certain level or skill level of soldering and component identification knowledge to ensure the kit will work as the designer intended. Obviously, the more complex the kit, due to the possible end user options, can confuse electronic newbies, can lead to people building the kit wrong. Often when people fail, they can get disillusioned after investing time and money, and they may leave MERG after such an experience. As far as I'm aware, there are no commercial no commercial products, i.e. pre-built for the CBUS/VLCB. Now, I may be wrong. I did get told once there was somebody selling stuff at model exhibitions or railway exhibitions. So I'm happy to be corrected on that. Obviously, the CBUS/VLCB does allow for DIY if I buy the three libraries. By three libraries, obviously I'm talking about MERG, CBUS, Duncan
Sorry,
Green.
John, to interrupt. Ian Blair, you have some noise in the background. Can
Oh,
you turn
sorry.
off your
Yes, I didn't
radio?
realize I wasn't muted. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, normally
Okay, thank you.
I would have muted people, but I forgot to do it. So, okay. So, yes, we've got three libraries currently available within the Arduino Library Manager for CBUS. We've got MERG CBUS, which I started looking at originally. Had issues with a few things. And then I think, well, I know Phil Silvers, he has updated the library a little bit a while ago. So that does get a little bit of work on it. Duncan's his library is sort of getting updated regularly. I noticed one of the fixes that I had issues with when I first started has now been fixed, so that's good. Obviously, the VLCB library for the Arduino, which is a work with Sven, Martin DaCosta, and maybe a few others. Now that's a nice set of libraries. However, I've not seen any examples for the most basic servo control mentioned in their documentation. In the past, whenever I've raised this, I was told, why reinvent the wheel? Just buy kits. Obviously, for the people who can't build kits, this is the people I'm aiming for. So, as I say in our Merseyside area group to the people, if you're happy building kits, go down the CBUS route. You've got a wide offering of kits that if you follow the instructions, great. Yes, sometimes the documentation has been a little bit suspect in the past. There's a lot of work been done on it. So that's the way I've always been, with it. If you can build kits, go CBUS. Obviously, when it comes to LCC or layout command control.
Sorry, John, can I answer a question about servos? I just
Yes.
want to say, I just want to say we have a bunch of example sketches. We are not going to provide examples for everything. If we do the servos, someone is going to say, "Oh, why don't you do this and that?" So that's why we
Yeah.
just it's up to you to do it yourself.
That's fair comments, Sven. But the issue is, there's an issue when you start working with servos and possibly start throwing frog switching and everything else with timing. So, people need to understand that. So I accept that. That's the way you want to do it as a group. That's fine. Now the thing is with LCC, it's not just CAN bus. Their protocol covers Wi-Fi and other methods that you can do it. But the main thing with LCC, and why I'm saying it's LCC offers commercial nodes that can be used with a CAN bus network using commercially available Ethernet cables, making it an easy plug and play for the end users. Obviously, in the UK and the States, and I believe it's the States, Sprog, which is Andrew Crossland, who I was hoping might be here tonight. Now, he offers a range of devices, including a starter kit. MERG members do get a 20% discount. You have to create an account. Once Andrew has confirmed you are a MERG member, you automatically will see the discounts within his website. There are a number of other commercial vendors offering a wide range of nodes. Now, in the future, I'm hoping we might be able to attract Dick Bronson or one of the other guys. Obviously, Balaz, he's been involved, I think, with TCS, Train Control Systems, and obviously they've made a command station which supports LCC, and I think it also supports another protocol, but I don't know enough about it to be able to talk about that here. So the DIY opportunities, and this is the bit for me, because obviously, I know when I started with CMRI, we took it so far. I then started having issues with the number of nodes on the bus. That turned out to be the termination resistors. I came up with a different module that we could use, and that got around that. But with OpenLCB, we currently have 4 libraries in the Arduino IDE, with many examples to show what can be achieved. So MERG and LCC and OpenLCB SIG. Within our SIG, we are lucky we have David Harris, who's obviously in Canada, who's in the meeting tonight, who maintains one of these libraries. He's helped me to get as far as I have with the OpenLCB. And David has always been upfront with me and said, John, there's more professional libraries. And I must admit, yes, there are, but you need that little handheld in at the beginning just to understand how the library is structured to work. I have actually used one of the examples. There are 16 input-output, I think it was at the time, from the MMRN Lite. So I know that works. And the other thing I'm hoping to bring into MERG, we've got a number of people who have already made available PCBs. If people want to order them from China, that becomes another possibility. I think a couple of them are based around the ESP32 Dev 1, which is what I use. I did have concerns a few months ago around the Dev 1 because we knew it as the Vroom, and often some are still labeled as Vroom. But the actual chip on them, we're probably all right for another 6 years at least before we may look at issues. But with the code we've currently got, it won't take much to move over to, I think we were looking at either the S3 or the C3. David Ellis from Liverpool, he did try the C6 because obviously that had better Wi-Fi capabilities, but it was too early days for us to sort of try and get everything up and running. So the key bit for me and why I like the system, LCC or OpenLCB is open source. The standards and the technical documentations are well written and undergo a 6-month peer review before they go to the NMRA for their approval as an LCC standard or technical documentation. Now, I must admit, the guys that are working on the VLCB library, they put a lot of work in theirs, and they're doing similar things where they're peer reviewing them before they release them. So that's another excellent feature for if people can learn to adopt using that for DIY stuff. So at that point, I'm going to stop the screen share. If there's any questions before I start talking about the DIY members projects. Obviously, you'll have to unmute yourselves if need be.
John, it might just be worth expanding for a moment on the concept of why we're going for that non-kit idea, which you mentioned, and that's because I constantly say this in our group that we are the 5%, probably not as many as that, in terms of general railway modelers. Most railway modelers will run a mile at the concept of having to build a kit. If we're therefore to get as many people as possible in the railway fraternity into using layout control buses, it's got to be incredibly simple and cheap. Otherwise, they won't look at it. And that's really, where we're coming from.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll just add to that is, when I started, obviously, I already had bought a CAN USB 4 because I was playing with the Arduino to CBUS. So I'd already bought that bit of kit. And when I moved over to the LCC, I thought, oh, I need to now buy the LCC product from Andrew Crossland, which I think we get for being a MERG member, something like 50 quid. And Andrew said to me, John, you don't need to spend that money. The CAN USB 4 will work. The only difference between the CAN USB 4 and Andrew's product is his is galvanically isolated, but it's also a node because he's made certain LEDs, I think it is, and David might have more information because obviously Andrew's not here. So, it's got some extra features for monitoring if there's issues with on the bus. So the other thing that Andrew, and he put it in his article when he wrote it for the journal, was we could take some of the MERG kits that are currently on offer, and he said he could possibly write some software, but it would be very limited. And I said at the time, well, no, you concentrate on doing what you're doing, because he is working on a product at the moment, which I'm not sure. I think it was his Railcom. Yeah, David's nodding. So I'm hoping we get to see that come out sooner than later. So, these are the things we can look at. I have also been looking at some of the excellent board designs that Ian Hart has made. I love the work he does. He's offering boards at the moment, and the kit lock has only got one as a PCB offering for the Pi Pico. So we have muted conversation between myself and David at one point. Do we look at, picking up something with the Pi Pico to offer that, so MERG people can buy a kit, or a PCB at the moment, because it's only going to stay as a PCB until they see there's a good uptake on it. So it's one of them. But that, as David said, the initial idea and where I started was keeping it simple. And I'm just trying to change my screen a bit here, sorry, excuse me. So the joys of Zoom when you're hosting it and trying to do different things. So my original idea started off with a Arduino, a simple shield, and that was going to be the 2 servo 8IO. Now I pushed that to 3 servos on my layout. There was concern over the MCP 2515, and then obviously because a lot of people were already using the ESP32s, obviously I'm showing this. I've just been releasing, I think I've released 5 or 6. I'm not sure how many I've actually pushed to public, using this ESP32 and this shield and this one CAN transceiver. So if you ignored the MCP on it at the moment, the basic sketches, as I called it, basic series, that's all you need. So to get the CAN bus working, it's 4 DuPont connectors. Obviously, you've then got to set up your inputs and outputs on your native pins. So I've made it 8 available off this side and 8 off this side. I think at the moment I've released, let's say, I've got 6 codes, and they offer various solutions for the railway modeler. The next set of nodes that I plan to release will be beyond the basic nodes. I haven't decided yet what to call them, but they're going to start off where, at the moment, this is what's on my layout. Or the majority of this is what's on there. And at the moment, it sort of is offered with 2 servos, 8 IO, 8 native IO and 16 MCP outputs and or either ors. Now, that's
John,
ideal. Yeah.
can you just maybe describe that in more detail for people? Because maybe some don't know what you're talking about,
Right.
like the MCP 23017 and so on. You can
Yeah.
tell them what it does.
So this chip here, for those who don't know, it's a 16-port IO expander that uses I²C. It offers you 14 pins that can be inputs, or it offers you 16 pins that can be outputs. So the sketch we've got allows the end user to choose each pin individually. What do they want it to do? So you can draw, you've got a good selection, and in a minute I'll show the sketch. So, that's where I was going from. So we'd start off with the basic series, which wouldn't have an MCP on it. Then for frogs, well, the basic, I can't get the frog switching because of the timing issues and possibly because of different things we're working with, and I haven't got round and sorted a fix for that. So beyond the basics, we're going to introduce the PCA 9685, and that actually improves, and for those who don't know that is a 16-channel I²C device that offers 16 pulse width modulated channels, ideal for servos. So that seems to be the best way to go, and we have a sketch that does the frog switching, excuse my pronunciations. Yeah, so we've got that available now. We are doing the beta testing of it. I did release it by one mistake because I wanted to use the wiki on GitHub, and within a day or two of it going out, there'd been 40 odd clones of it. And I thought I've got to make it private again because we weren't ready to release it, but I didn't, because I didn't advertise it, I thought nobody's going to find it. Another feature thing we're looking at, like on too many here, is this device here. And this here is an M5 stack Atom Lite. Now it only offers a number of IOs, but it offers, there's a nice CAN transceiver, and then they do a 8-channel servo board. So, we've got this, and that would make a nice, there's no 3D printing or anything, a little bit more expensive. So I think at some point we will release a sketch maybe, so you could use this with 8 servos. We could possibly also use a standard PCA 9685 with this. I'm just not sure about the connection on this side of it. We'd have to sort of look at that. So if I stop sharing the screen now, so that's some of the details. I don't know, does anybody any questions before I do another screen share showing what the node looks like within JMRI. Let's see, there's one question. Yes, the question in the chat, to be fair, yes, these I've been looking at as well. And Ian has said that, I can contact him to do it. But that's further down the lines because, at the moment, my focus is on the ESP32 to get something out. Obviously, when I started it, it was a journey. And the journey, the nodes we made available, they're all still there. But I wanted to separate them out into individual GitHub repositories as it makes it easier for me to maintain. So that is a very good point, yes. I did speak with Ian not so long ago. He has a board that suits one of the smaller ESP30. Well, I don't think it's called the ESP32. It's one of them modules that has been developed for a CBUS project. So that might be something that we could look at in the future. A lot depends on how much interest there is to how far we take these things. I don't know if you've got anything you want to add there, David?
Yeah, just that, I mean, we support the Pico already. Yeah, it's just a matter of producing the stuff. I think what John's been concentrating on is trying to keep a set of sketches that are fixed to do certain things, so that people don't have to do a lot of messing around with them to get them to work. I tend to write the sketches to be very general, so they could use the Pico, the ESP32, STM32, etc. But it makes it very hard for people to figure out, how do I actually get this thing to work on my chip? So John's concentrating on, this is the chip to use, this is the sketch to use on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea for beginners. Makes it easier for them.
Yeah, because obviously we did start off with the Arduino, didn't we? And your sketch did actually work with the Pico, so I have tried it with the Pico. Obviously, in the latest ones I'm releasing, you'll only see 2 board choices. Really, I got the second board in there because it makes it easier if David is wanting to do any changes. Whenever I've struggled, I've said to David, can you have a little look here? David likes to use the Atom, don't you? I think for doing a lot of your development. Because it's such a nice thing to just plug in.
So we should say the Atom is just another ESP32. It's the
Yes.
same processor, it's just in a different package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I think one of the sketches I've recently put out, there is traces still for the R4. So I've left it in there. So developers, they can look into the code and see, well, oh, you could do it on that, because obviously different people have got different ideas. But from a beginner point of view, and the target audience I'm aiming for, which is people who have adopted the likes of DCCX, learned how to work with that, possibly have pushed the I2C to its limits. So obviously there's an option you can do with CAN bus. But we have also got, member, and he's not in the call tonight, John Callingham. He's been using David's library Wi-Fi sketches. And obviously the new gentleman who recently joined MERG has started talking about his lever frame. Obviously he's using the MMRN Lite library, I think it is. Or is it the lib library? Sorry, it's one. It might be the other one, because he's
It's the other one. It's the library that's written in C. So
Yeah.
the other ones are in C++. So there's one in C.
Yeah. And I've been upfront all along. Is yes, I can code. I certainly haven't got the skills David is out to show. I've improved dramatically over the last couple of weeks. So I've really focused on it because I needed to get the layout in the loft to a certain point. Unfortunately, I twisted my knee, so I am not able to get up into the loft at the moment. So I thought, right, let's make use of the time before I go away, start making some of these individual codes available. So hopefully that's given an insight of, where we are, where we're going, what some of the ideas are. So if there's no more questions, what I'll do, I'll quickly try and share screens again.